Have you ever wondered why Antarctica, the Earth's only continent without a native human population, remains untouched by national territorial claims or military activity? The answer lies in a groundbreaking piece of legislation known as the Antarctic Treaty. Born amidst the tension of the Cold War, the Antarctic Treaty emerged as the world's first arms control agreement. This remarkable document had a clear and powerful mission: to transform Antarctica into a sanctuary dedicated to peace, science, and international cooperation. It established the continent as a scientific preserve, championing the freedom of scientific research and staunchly prohibiting military activity. Defined as all the land and ice shelves south of 60° S latitude, Antarctica became a symbol of unity and shared exploration under the Antarctic Treaty. This is the story of the Antarctic Treaty, a testament to international cooperation and the quest for peace and knowledge. The seeds of the Antarctic Treaty were planted in the aftermath of World War II. As the world began to rebuild, the United States turned its eyes southward, considering the establishment of a claim in Antarctica. In the late summer of 1946, the US embarked on Operation High Jump, a colossal military expedition that marked the largest force the United States had ever sent to Antarctica. This operation comprised 13 ships, a staggering 4,700 men, and an array of aerial devices. The primary goals? To train military personnel and to test equipment in the harsh, icy conditions of a potential Antarctic battlefield. In September 1947, a significant portion of Antarctica, particularly the quadrant in which the United States had shown interest, was included in the security zone of the Inter-American Treaty of Reciprocal Assistance. This essentially committed member nations to defend this icy realm in the event of external aggression. The following year, in 1948, the United States proposed an audacious plan to place Antarctica under the guardianship of the United Nations. This plan envisioned the continent as a trust territory, administered by a coalition of nations including Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, the United States, the United Kingdom, and New Zealand. However, the proposal was met with resistance and ultimately rejected by several nations, including Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, and Norway. Undeterred, the United States proposed an alternative plan, advocating for some form of internationalization of Antarctica, a notion that was supported by the United Kingdom. Chile countered this proposal with a plan of its own, suggesting a temporary suspension of all Antarctic claims for 5 to 10 years, while a final solution was negotiated. This plan, however, also failed to gain acceptance. By 1950, the United States' ambition to keep the Soviet Union away from Antarctica was thwarted when the Soviets declared that they would not accept any Antarctic agreement in which they were not represented. This stoked fears of a territorial claim by the USSR, bringing the Cold War to Antarctica, and prompted the United States to make none. The stage was set for a new approach to the governance of Antarctica. The Cold War era brought new challenges and fears to the Antarctic discussion. This was a time of superpowers, of ideological battles waged in silence across the globe. In the aftermath of World War II, the United States began to eye Antarctica with interest, considering the establishment of a territorial claim. In the late 40s, they even carried out Operation High Jump, the largest military expeditionary force they had ever sent to the icy continent. It was a show of strength, but also a test of endurance, preparing for a potential war in the harsh Antarctic conditions. However, the United States wasn't the only player on the board. The Soviet Union, ever watchful, refused to accept any agreement that didn't include them. This was a typical chess move from the Soviets, always wanting to be part of the conversation, especially when it came to territories that might hold strategic or resourceful value. The fear of the Soviets making a territorial claim in Antarctica, thus bringing the Cold War to this remote and inhospitable land, led the United States to hold back on making any territorial claims of their own. This game of international politics was played out against the backdrop of the Antarctic's icy wilderness, a place that had remained largely untouched by human hands. The potential for the Cold War's shadow to fall over this pristine landscape was real. The thought of military bases being established, of conflict spilling over into this peaceful scientific haven, was deeply troubling. It was clear that the international community needed to find a resolution to prevent the Cold War from freezing over Antarctica. The specter of the Cold War loomed over Antarctica, prompting a need for resolution. The Antarctic discussion had shifted from territorial claims and scientific exploration to the preservation of peace and neutrality. This change in discourse would eventually lead to the establishment of the Antarctic Treaty, a testament to the power of diplomacy over aggression, of science over warfare. But that's a story for our next scene. In the face of international conflicts, the idea of a peaceful and cooperative Antarctic was born, spurred by a series of incidents and the specter of the Cold War reaching the icy wilderness. The international community felt an urgent need for an agreement to safeguard the Antarctic. A significant occurrence that contributed to the creation of the Antarctic Treaty was the incident at Hope Bay on February 1, 1952. Here, tensions escalated as the Argentine military fired warning shots, underscoring the need for a formal agreement to prevent potential conflicts in this unclaimed territory. In response, on December 1, 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was opened for signature. This marked a momentous occasion in the history of international relations. The treaty, an unprecedented arms control agreement, designated the Antarctic as a scientific preserve, establishing freedom of scientific investigation and banning military activity. This was a significant step towards maintaining peace in the southernmost part of the world. It wasn't until June 23, 1961, that the Antarctic Treaty officially entered into force. This day marked the official recognition of Antarctica as a zone of peace and scientific exploration, free from military activity and territorial disputes. The original signatories of the treaty were the 12 countries active in Antarctica during the International Geophysical Year of 1957 to 58. These countries were Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These nations had established over 55 Antarctic research stations for the International Geophysical Year, and the treaty was seen as a diplomatic expression of the operational and scientific cooperation that had been achieved. As of 2023, the treaty has 56 parties. This demonstrates the growing global commitment to preserving Antarctica as a place for peaceful scientific exploration, free from the conflicts that often plague other parts of the world. The Antarctic Treaty stands as a symbol of international cooperation, preserving Antarctica for peaceful and scientific purposes. It is a testament to what can be achieved when nations set aside their differences and work together for the good of humanity and the preservation of our planet. The Antarctic Treaty has profound implications for our world. The treaty, signed in 1959, has had far-reaching effects on how we interact with the last unspoiled frontier on our planet. It's not just about land and ice, it's about peace and science. The treaty bans military activity and territorial claims, instead promoting the peaceful use of Antarctica for scientific research. This has led to breakthroughs in our understanding of climate change, sea level rise, and the history of our planet. Moreover, it preserves the unique Antarctic environment, safeguarding its biodiversity and acting as a critical buffer against global warming. The treaty has also proven to be a powerful symbol of international cooperation. In a world often marked by division, the Antarctic Treaty reminds us of the possibility of unity for the common good. The Antarctic Treaty, a beacon of international cooperation, continues to guide our stewardship of this remote and remarkable continent.